This is Homa from Homa Studio. Welcome back to part 2 of our vector editing video in Figma. Doing some things we normally do in Illustrator. We're doing them with Figma, and I'm picking up where I left off on my last video where I had a square on page 1. Now, if I want to make a new page so I don't have to create everything all over again, what I could do is I could go here and show my pages. Now, I can add a page, but then I'd have to add a frame and start all over, but I can right-click on here and put duplicate page. And you could even name your pages. So I could call the first one square and the second one clover or whatever. I think it's a heart. It's going to be a heart. But I'll just keep it as page 2. And on page 2, I'm going to get rid of this. And I'm going to make a circle or an ellipse. And I'll just draw just any shape, any size. And I'll use that trick again, that math trick of 6 asterisk 72 for the width. And then 6 times 72 for the height. And that's wrong. I must have put something in 6 times 72. There we go. And if I want to center it on the page, I'm going to go center horizontally and then center vertically, and now that circle's centered on the page. And what we're going to do here is we're going to make a heart, and we're going to convert the anchor points that are here. Now, you can't see the anchor points right now unless you go to Edit Object. And that's like using the direct selection tool in Illustrator, but I think this is easier. We go into this mode here, and you can see we have 4 anchor points. And they should be, oh, they say no mirroring. So they're not curve points, even though they look like they would be. If you drag these, they work independently. So they're corner points right now, but that's actually okay. So I'm not going to worry about it. But what I am going to do is with my move tool is I'm going to move this thing down and kind of flatten it like a coffee bean. And since it is no mirroring, unless I changed it somehow. Oh, now it went back for whatever reason. Let me go here and make it no mirroring. Because that's what it was originally. There it is, no mirroring. By no mirroring, that's a corner point, so then the handles will work independently. And I'll drag that up. So you can see that looks like the top of a heart. And I'm just doing it by eye. You drag these up as long as you want. And remember, each handle controls one side of the curve from one anchor point to the other. So this is controlling this side here. So that's the top of my heart. And what I'll do is click in the middle here and drag it up. And then take this anchor point, drag it down, make it long. And then you can see if I want to make it a heart, I don't want this to have handles out here. Now I can just go here and take my bend tool and just click on it. And there it looks like a heart. And if I want a special bend tool that actually kind of bends in like more of a cartoon heart, I can just kind of grab on this and kind of drag one end in. Now they're disappearing temporarily, but I'm dragging one side in, kind of tapering it in, and then I got to go back here, change it to no mirroring, and then go down and now get off of the bend tool, because remember, the bend tool is always active and it's always doing things. So get off of that and then go and grab the handle, and now that it's a non-mirroring or a corner point, you can drag that up. I could drag this point up. So just remember, when you're manipulating the anchor points and the handles, use this move tool. That's like the direct selection tool in Illustrator. And when you're converting, you can use this bend tool. Now this bend tool can also just bend sides of objects. You could take a square and just kind of bend the sides in. So it's lots of cool things you can do here in Figma to work with vectors. And you just have to remember that when you delete, you have to do Shift Delete. And when you're drawing with the pen tool, you have to do Escape if you don't want it to connect when you're adding points. So I'll do more with vectors in Figma. I find this a really intuitive program to work with when you're working with vectors, even more so than Illustrator. I really like it, and I like the way they handle layers. So I really like this program, even though Adobe has bought Figma. I'm not sure what's going to happen with it, but I really like this program, and I like that it's free. I like that you could share your images, and I like that you can save them as PDF. And by the way, if you wanted to save this, you could save multi-page PDFs. So if you wanted to send something that you created on 2 pages, your heart and your clover, even though I went back and made this into a square again, you can go back and export this as a PDF. And I'll show you how to do that later. But for now, this is just some basics with vectors. Again, this was creating a square into a star. And if you need me to do that again, that was really easy. I just went here, Edit Object, Pen Tool, add a point, Escape, add a point, Escape, add a point, Escape, add a point, escape, drag them in with the move tool, like that, if you remember from the first video, but it's always good practice just to get used to vectors doing this, and then use the bend tool to convert these to curves like that, or no mirroring, or mirroring, I should say, with equal length. And then if you want to go back, you can just use this bend tool to click here, click here, click here. I wish Illustrator was this easy. And again, to get rid of these, you have to go back to your arrow and then do Shift Delete, select it. Remember, you can drag through it, Shift Delete, drag through it, Shift Delete, drag through it, Shift Delete, and you're back to a square again, and then hit done. So that's part 2 of our intro to vectors using Figma.